Welcome everyone to another Edge of Fate build video, and today we're actually going to be making a Warlock build for you. As of recently, I've gotten a couple of comments from a couple of people asking for a Warlock build, so I figured I might as well break out the Warlock and actually deliver a Warlock build for you guys. The build I bring for you today is going to be based all around stasis. It seems like at this point, I'm not gonna lie, I make so many stasis builds that I'm basically a stasis build YouTuber, but that's not the point. Today we're going to be using the kind of off-meta gauntlets that I really don't see many people use, and that is going to be the Ballador's Wrathweaver's exotic gauntlets. And the reason we're using this exotic isn't necessarily for the amount of super damage that it provides, but mainly for the way to have infinite ×8 frost armor. That combined with the healing rift that freezes people and ice flare bolts, basically every single thing on the playing field should be at one point frozen. So if everything is frozen on the playing field, I figured the one weapon that works best against frozen targets is going to be Icebreaker. So in this build, we will be using the exotic sniper Icebreaker. We're going to go ahead and take Icebreaker and pair it up with a couple of stasis weapons in our primary and heavy slot. And that is because of the sheer amount of artifact perks that will work with stasis weapons, as well with the Ballador's Wrathweavers giving us a stasis surge ×2 anytime we are in a rift, and a stasis surge ×4 anytime we actually do end our super. The gameplay you're watching right now is me inside of a -50 solo ops, as well as me inside of the weekly mythic campaign mission. And I do this just to show you how tanky this build really is. I mean, whenever you have ×8 frost armor, which is 50% damage reduction, while standing in a healing rift, pretty much you are unkillable for the most part. And luckily in this build, I've set up a way for us to basically make it where whenever we do place our healing rift to give us that ×8 frost armor and freeze people nearby, I have a way set up so that basically by the time that healing rift ends, we have another one available ready to go so that we can keep the ×8 healing rift chain going at all times. Also, not to mention that frost armor that you do apply to yourself does apply to allies, so this build does also play as a great support build for any type of fire team type activity. As always, I have the dim link in the description, but for now, let's go ahead and get straight into the details on why we are running what we are running. So first things first, the backbone of this build is going to go ahead and be the Ballador's Wrathweavers. These exotic gauntlets makes it where targets frozen by your Winter's Wrath super will take increased shatter damage, allies in range of your Winter's Wrath Shockwave and Frost Pulse will gain frost armor and deal increased damage with stasis weapons. If you grant these buffs to allies, it'll also grant you super energy. So I know that's a very long description, but basically just to show you what it does, if you go ahead and take your class ability combined with the Frost Pulse stasis aspect here, whenever you end up casting your healing rift, it'll make it where you get frost armor ×5 and you get a stasis weapon boost ×2. Now in this specific build, I'm going to ramp it up even higher by using Whisper of Rhyme here. We're making it where our frost armor has increased duration and a new maximum stat count. So now if we go ahead and use our rift, we're now going to be at ×8 frost armor at 13 seconds, and ×8 frost armor, heads up, is a 50% damage reduction, which for those of you who are new to Destiny, 50% is a big number to negate. If we go ahead and look at the Frost Pulse stasis aspect here, obviously it makes it where when we cast our rift, it will freeze nearby combatants. But if you look at the bottom section there, where freezing combatants will generate class ability energy. So if I go ahead and stand next to enemies and cast my rift, it'll freeze them. But if you look at my class ability energy right now, I'm already pretty much at halfway to my next healing rift. And obviously the amount of rift energy you gain is based on how many people you freeze. So let's just say there's a big group of enemies like this. If I pop my rift in the middle of them, if you look at my class ability energy, I actually froze enough people to immediately get it back. We're going to add on top of that Whisper of Refraction here, where if you defeat slowed or frozen targets, it will grant you class ability energy. So if I pop my class ability over here and only freeze a couple of them, if you peep my class ability right now, it's about halfway. Whenever I kill them, I get a decent chunk back, which then can let me obviously keep the loop going. We're then going to combine all of that with Ice Flare Bolts. This makes it where when you shatter a frozen target, it will spawn Seekers that will track and freeze other nearby targets. This is just so we can have the maximum amount of freezing out on the field. So therefore we can kill a bunch of frozen targets to get our class ability back. From there, we're going to use Cold Snap Grenade. This is just going to give us another easy for sure way to get freeze off. And it will also work with Ice Flare Bolts, where obviously once you freeze someone, shatter them, it'll go to the next person. For the rest of your abilities, use whatever jump you want, and then for this you are going to want Healing Rift, and I'll explain why in a little bit. For the rest of the fragments, you're going to want Whisper of Torment. You gain grenade energy each time you take damage from targets, and having frost armor increases the amount of energy gained. And then last but not least, we're going to run Whisper of Shards, where if you shatter a stasis crystal, it'll boost your grenade recharge rate. For our weapons of choice, we're going to run a couple of very specific things. First things first is you're going to need a stasis weapon. I'm personally going to be running the Solemn Remembrance. This is the hand cannon that is dropping from the competitive PvP playlist, and I'm personally using Headstone and Rhyme Stealer. Honestly, when it comes to the stasis weapon you are using, the rolls don't really matter as long as it's stasis, but having Rhyme Stealer and Headstone is a great combo for this build specifically. I also know you can get Headstone and Firefly on this hand cannon. I personally haven't gotten a drop yet, but I know that will also be beastie if you do have that as an option. And there's a couple of reasons we're going to want a stasis weapon here. First things first is obviously when in a rift after using our Ballador's Wrathweaver's Frost Pulse rift, we will then get a stasis weapon's time to surge, so therefore your stasis weapon will do more damage. On top of that, by using a stasis weapon, we will proc the artifact perk Fever and Chill, where rapid precision hits with your stasis weapon will grant you frost armor. We will also be proccing Frigid Glare, while when we have frost armor, our stasis precision final blows will cause combatants to release a freezing burst. So those are the 3 key reasons as to why you're going to want a stasis weapon. Now for our energy and exotic of choice, we're going to want Icebreaker. Icebreaker absolutely cooks with this build. If you do not have this weapon, I highly suggest you go out of your way to go get it. For those of you that don't know, basically to sum up what this weapon does is on frozen targets, if you hit them with a shot of Icebreaker, it will cause an ignition. So obviously in this build, we're going to be freezing a whole bunch of targets. So by combining the amount of freezing we're doing plus Icebreaker, we're basically going to have an infinite supply of ignitions. On top of that, if you have the catalyst, it makes it where if you land a hit on a slowed or frozen target, it has a chance to return the round to the magazine, making it where you pretty much have infinite special ammo using your Icebreaker. So you'll never have to worry about ammo with this weapon. For your heavy slot, you're going to want a stasis weapon just so we can make use of that ×2 weapon surge that Ballador's Wrathweavers will supply with us. Now for the rest of the artifact perks, there's going to be a couple of extra ones you're going to really want, and the first one is one with frost. This makes it where when you have frost armor, your stasis weapons will gain increased reload speed and stability, and stasis swords will also gain increased guard resistance. I know I mentioned Fever and Chill before, but I'm going to bring it up again because this will also work with Icebreaker to give us Radiant whenever we do land rapid precision hits with our Icebreaker. You're going to want Frost Renewal. This makes it where when you have Frost Armor, taking critical damage will release a burst that will freeze nearby combatants and grant you Frost Armor. You're also going to want Cauterized Darkness. This makes it where stasis debuffed non-boss combatants will take increased solar damage from all sources. So in this build, you're going to be using this artifact perk a lot because once again, you're going to be hitting people with your solar Icebreaker who are frozen. So therefore the ignition and the shot from Icebreaker will be doing more damage to your frozen targets. You're also going to want to run Elemental Benevolence. This will only apply if you are playing in a fire team though. Granting allies an elemental buff will give you class ability energy. Casting our rift will also be granting not just us the frost armor, but our allies. So therefore, as long as you place the rift next to an ally, they will get frost armor, therefore making it where we get class ability energy. You're also going to want Shield Crush, just making it where when we have frost armor, our melee will recharge faster and deal increased damage. And then on the off chance we get radiant from using our Icebreaker, our grenade will also recharge faster and do more damage. And then last but not least, go ahead and throw on Elemental Coalescence, making it where some random kills will drop stasis shards for us. That was a lot of artifact perks and that was a lot of talking, so my apologies if you got lost or confused during any of that explanation. On to armor stats, there's really going to be 2 massive stats you're going to really want. Obviously 100 class stat, this is just so we get our rift back quicker, which is the main catalyst to this whole build. And then from there, try to get your super stat as high as you can. Obviously, our Ballador's Wrathweavers will buff how much our super does off rip, but we can combine that with an even better damage boost from having a high super class stat. From there, I personally spec into melee, but another good option is grenade. So it's just up to you if you prefer having a more uptime on your cold snap grenade or your penumbral blast. Now for mods on the helmet, go ahead and run Dynamo here, run Harmonic Siphon and Super Font. On the gauntlets, go ahead and run either melee font or grenade font based on whatever you prefer in terms of your melee or grenade, and then go ahead and throw on Focusing Strike and Bolstering Detonation. On the chest piece, run Concussive Dampener, Sniper Damage Resistance, and Harmonic Ammo Generation. On your boots, go ahead and throw on Insulation. We're going to run Solar Weapon Surge so that our Icebreaker is also getting an added damage boost, and then we're going to go ahead and throw on Absolution. Last but not least, on our class item, go ahead and throw on Time Dilation, Reaper, and Bomber. Now, just to sum up what these mods are going to do for us, it's going to boost our 2 stats here whenever we do have a armor charge, as well as increase our solar damage. Every time we end up using our class ability, it'll make it where we get super, as well as great overpower on our next kill. And then last but not least, whenever we cause damage using our melee or our grenade, we'll get some class ability energy. So that right there was the entire Ballador's Wrathweavers build. I know that was a lot of yapping, so if you got lost or confused at all, please comment down below any questions you have. I will personally try to answer you, and if I don't, I'm sure someone will down below. But for now, let's go ahead and take this build into some live gameplay for you. So for the build today, we're gonna go ahead and take it into the Salt Mine solo op here, and with the modifiers I've applied, we're gonna go ahead and be minus 50 light under for you. Basically, the way the loop works is just sit there and try to just basically place your rift, freeze targets, stand in it obviously for healing, and from there just try to get as many frozen target kills just to keep your class ability energy up. It is a very simple, straightforward build. It's basically place rift, kill frozen targets, place rift, kill frozen targets over and over and over again, and you'll have basically infinite healing and infinite ×8 frost armor, and basically just never die, as well as completely just obliterate things. No, that's not gonna track him, is it? Oh, it still hit him. How am I gonna hit him? We'll shoot his toes. Place rift, freeze, shoot him. I already have my super up, so we're gonna go ahead and finish him off with that. Cool, easy peasy. Now I have to do the annoying part of this solo ops and destroy these random nodes. Oh, a tormentor! I was not prepared for a tormentor when I turned that corner there, like at all. All right, honestly, I have no idea what this super does to tormentors. I wonder if it chunks. Oh, it does nothing. Nope, you're frozen again. Oh, I had icebreaker up actually. I should have used it then. Uh-oh. I frost over ×8. I'll be completely fine. Ooh-wee. All right. And finishable. There we go. That was fun. I was not ready for that. No, how did I miss a frozen target? Wow, okay. Finally, okay. On to the boss fight. And I can already tell I'm immediately opening up with my super. Oh, it's one of these people? One last headshot should finish him off. Oh, if I hit it. There we go. All right, did finish him off. Now we have his stupid little brother up next. All right, let's see. This super might actually finish him off. I think it will. Oh, it's gonna be close. I think it will though. Oh, got a bit risky with it. All right, hopefully does that headshot do it? No, look at his health bar. We're just gonna finish him off with the Solemn Remembrance. All right, there we go. Minus 50 power level on the Salt Mine solo ops using the, what are these called again? My brain. The Balladors and Wrathreaves build. Holy wow. Can't believe I forgot that already. So yeah, that right there was the entire build. I really hope that you guys were able to understand everything that I was trying to explain to you and show off how great this build actually is. Sorry for the repetitiveness, by the way, on stasis builds. It's just that, like, I mean, stasis is so boosted right now with the artifact perks that it's kind of hard for me not to lean towards stasis builds. So sorry for it's getting a bit repetitive on that front. But yeah, as always, if you have any recommendations you'd like to change to the build, please comment those down below because they might improve the build. Once again, I am not the most perfect build crafter. And as always, if you have any builds you'd like for me to try in the future personally, please drop those down below as well. If you made it this far, that must mean you found it at least somewhat entertaining, so please consider subscribing and liking the video. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for me, all you fine ladies and gentlemen. Have a great rest of your day.